jumping in here at the beginning of the video to say that if what you really want to hear is just my reflection on this process and what I got out of it, then you can just jump there. I'll put that timestamp somewhere. Hey y'all, I'm Angela. Today is April 3rd, day 3 of Camp NaNoWriMo, and tomorrow I am going to attempt to do a 12-hour write-a-thon, which I'm a little nervous about because I don't think I've ever written for more than like maybe 2 hours straight, and that's generous. Like I don't think I've even done that. But I am attempting to write 60 hours this month for camp, and I want to get a little bit ahead in case I fall off later. And then also I just really want this revision done. I'm revising my novel for camp, and it's just really slow. So part of me is like, maybe if I power through for 12 hours, I'll make progress. So that's gonna happen tomorrow. It's still pretty early in the day today, or like 5 or so. I just finished up work for the day. Tomorrow will be Saturday, so I'll be doing that. In theory, I'm gonna get some writing done tonight too. We'll see. I think this might break me. I'm a little nervous. It'll be fine. It's gonna be great. Yay, camp. All right, it is about 8 in the morning. I am dressed and have food and have tea. So we're gonna get started. I feel definitely, I think, more nervous than excited. 12 hours is a really long time. I feel like I watch a lot of people do these, and so 12 hours felt like it was short because it's less time than I feel like I watch a lot of people do write-a-thons. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna keep track of yet, but that's okay because I couldn't have printed out like a spreadsheet or anything anyway because I don't have printer access in quarantine. Part of what I think I'm trying to do here is just like be at peace with whatever happens in terms of I'm tracking by time for camp this year, and there have been times when I'm like, I have to pause my timer because I have to pee, and like it's not gonna work for today. So ground rules that I'm starting with are no internet, obviously, no like reading. I'm trying to like internalize that Neil Gaiman quote that is like, you could write or you can do nothing, but you can do nothing but write for 12 hours. Oh no, we'll see. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I didn't write it all yesterday, so I'm in the middle of a chapter revision from Thursday. So yeah, we'll see. It is now 9 o'clock. Things are going pretty okay. I have started a tracker, which I feel like I basically just stole most of the stuff that Kate Kavanaugh was doing on her last write-a-thon, which I just watched. So I'm doing time, and then if I finished a chapter, I'm going to make note of that so that I can see. And then also mood and words. Words isn't like a perfect thing because I'm doing a lot of rewriting, which in theory means that I'm retyping a bunch, although so far it's basically just been rewriting. Like most of my beats are staying the same, but especially in these early chapters, there's this like main relationship between two characters that the first time through came across as way too aggressive, really from both of them. And it just wasn't accurate to like who they are or what their relationship is. So I'm going through and fixing that, but because it's like so much in these early chapters, I'm basically rewriting everything, which takes a really long time, right? So if I'm thinking about like writing a chapter, that feels different than revising a chapter. And I'm struggling to sort of reorient that in my mind. I have 767 words in this last hour, which again, it's not perfect, although most of that was original words. So we'll see. I'm like on chapter 6 right now, which is this one. And I really need to go back and rewrite chapter 3 a little bit. So like right now, chapter 3 is still in outline form. And I've kind of just been skipping that, but really I need to know exactly what happens in this scene for all of this stuff later on. So I think I'm going to finish chapter 6, which is the one that I'm on. I might do chapter 7 first because it's just like actually mostly gets to stay the same, I think. Like I need to tweak a couple of things, but not hugely. And I want that morale boost. So like go from 6 into 7, but then I really need to go back and write chapter 3. I want to feel like I'm making progress, and I really, really don't. I need to figure out a way to reorient this for myself, and I'm not succeeding yet. It's 10:15, and I finally did it. I finally finished a chapter. So that's exciting and really good for morale. I'll probably move eventually, but it's like super cold. It's like 40 something and we haven't turned on the heater because we don't want to switch back over to heat. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue to sit here in my little nest and write. I just realized I can't do chapter 7 yet because chapter 7 is dependent on chapter 3. And I just went back to chapter 3. And I thought maybe some bits of it were written, but it's literally all outline. I'm so sad. It's fine. It'll be fun. I have to write a scene. Okay. It's gonna be great. Woo! I was so ready to retype. One thing that can be said. It was easier doing 2 hours in this context for sure than it is in the context of like a regular day. And I'm hoping that like once I have this as a frame of reference of like, oh, well, you wrote for 12 hours, then I can just make myself sit down and like work for 2-hour blocks throughout Nano. That would be great. All right, we're in the kitchen now because it's about noon and I'm gonna get some lunch. Although, out of basically everything that's not bread or dairy products at this point. So I guess that's what it's gonna be. Once I switched over into the chapter, I've actually been having a really good time. Like the transition was rough because I thought I was gonna be doing one thing and now I'm doing something else. But I am actually really enjoying it. Like there are scenes that are a lot of fun to write and I feel like I'm starting to get a better sense of who characters are in a couple of cases, which is exciting. In particular, there's this one character that the first time through, like, I didn't get his voice, I didn't really understand where he was, and as I'm sort of like moving back through right now, it's making more sense to me. So that is exciting. Like, I guess I keep thinking about that like sculpting metaphor, right, where like your rough draft is like the clay or whatever, and then you're like chiseling at it. It is also a little bit intimidating. Then it makes me think about how much more work there probably is to do if I wanted to make it really good, and like, do I want to make it really good, and blah blah blah. So I'm trying really hard to be present, to be in the moment with this, and to be just like in the chapter, in the scene that I'm writing, and not thinking about like how much there is still to do or what I want to do next. I feel like I'm living a lot in like this space where I'm like, oh, I need these revisions to be done so that I can start other projects and so that I have something to bring into my critique group and blah 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 blah, and that's just not, it's not helpful. So I was gonna make some food, but I need the pan that's still in the dishwasher, so I guess we'll let that finish first. It is 2:30. I decided to come outside for a little bit for a change of pace. Not to actually be outside, it's like really cold and wet, but just for filming. I'm more than halfway, which is very exciting. Definitely starting to be a little done. Would like to switch things up. Certainly in terms of space, like this would be a great time to go to the outside or to a coffee shop, but neither of those are really options right now. I think a scene earlier, this was much earlier in the day, where it was like talking about the characters were in a coffee shop, and I was like, oh, this is great, I should also go here to write. And then I was like, oh wait, I definitely can't do that. I have started to hit the wall that I feel like is maybe the 4 or the 6 hour mark, who knows. Up until then it wasn't bad, actually, which is nice. I am so close to finishing this chapter. I've been working on this chapter for like maybe 2.5 hours, but it's like a first draft. Like none of this was scenes that I'd had before. The fun thing is that there were parts of the beginning that I could tell were better, like where I was doing character work that needed doing. This last part of the chapter has been a character that wasn't in the first draft at all, and so I think that it's maybe a little bit weaker. I'm still like sort of figuring out who she is as a person, but otherwise I feel like it's been going really well. And even that, right, like first drafts have to exist. I am excited to finish the chapter, although I also don't quite know what the last scene is going to look like, which is part of the reason why I'm out here. Apart from the part where I'm reaching the point where I would like to stop, it's going really well. Not sure how the next 6 hours will go. There is, I think, a live stream this evening at like 5:30 that maybe I'll do. So that's just 3 more hours on my own. This is great. It's going to be great. It's so cold. I'm back. It has not been long, but 2 things have happened. First, I am borrowing my roommate's mostly broken tripod. And also, I've realized that whatever this like drawer set thing is
is the right size for me for a standing desk.
I feel like this hour has mostly been a wash, but it is what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. It is a little after 3 o'clock and I just finished chapter 3, so yay. I do think I need to now go back into chapter 4 and change a couple of things so that they flow better, but it shouldn't be too bad. And I think that it is an important reminder that for me at least it makes sense to be revising chronologically right now, because there's definitely points at which I want to skip forward. But if I'm being honest, the reason I want to skip forward is because I think that they're easier parts. I'm gonna keep going. Woo! It is 4 o'clock, which means I am now 2/3 of the way through. Definitely reached the point where I want to stop, but I'm still having a good time. Mostly I think that's because I've finally gotten into chapter 7, which was honestly maybe the first strong one, certainly the first strong one in a while, and so I've mostly been retyping, and then the things that I've been changing are things that like were broken, but now I know the answers to, if that makes sense, so that's super exciting. But I also am getting a little bit nervous in that I feel like the well is shrinking. And so at the end of this chapter, the character that I had the hardest time writing comes back on the screen, and it's basically the first time that that's been the case. Like, he's in the very first chapter for a little bit, but he's pretty upset and he like leaves pretty quickly, so this is the first time when I'm gonna see if I figured him out more. But I'm excited, but I'm definitely also nervous, and I'm a little worried to be coming to it after like 8.5 hours work. Like, it seems like maybe the kind of thing that I should start the day with. The other thing is that I'm definitely realizing that I way underestimated how long this process takes. Like, I have been working for 8 hours. I went to check because it seemed like it should have been more, but no, I've done a chapter and a half. Which, in fairness, like, chapter 3 was a complete rewrite, and a lot of chapter 6 was too. A lot of this has been rewriting, so it's just, I am realizing that my conception of how fast I write is maybe different than the reality, and it's possible that I was writing faster when I was doing my first draft. I'm not sure. Definitely wish I was stopping now, but probably that feeling is just going to continue to increase. So, woo!
All right, 5:30, which means stream time, and also I remembered I still had some leftover pad thai from when we ordered Thai food, so things are looking up.
So it is now about 6:15. I'm still on the stream, which is fun. I'm really into it. I'm having a really good time. I think it's because I finally got to chapter 7, which I've been waiting to get to for like ages. I think I'm actually making it worse. Like, it's getting very info dumpy, but it's, I think, world building that needs to happen, and I do feel like I have a better sense of who this character is. So we'll see if that comes across. I don't know if it's fixed, but it is improved upon. And yeah, I theoretically have like 2-ish more hours. We'll see if I go a little bit longer, but right now I'm still like really into it. It doesn't feel like I've been writing for 11 hours, but also we have reached the point where my brain is goo. I'm excited about this scene because I really do feel like I'm getting a better handle on this character and I want to write him, but I don't know that I'm ready to. Like, I think I will be tomorrow. Or maybe the next day. But not right now. But I'm gonna keep writing. Or at least I'm gonna stare at it. That's something. It's the sound of my soul right now. Okay, the live stream just ended, which means I'm all alone again. I'm gonna try going upstairs, and we're just gonna write. Or I guess I can stare at the wall. I can write, or I cannot write, but I can do nothing but write. So close. You know what? Screw it. The clock at the church tower is going off right now. It is 8 o'clock. I started this at 8 o'clock in the morning When I began, the sun had not yet risen, and now as I end, the sun has begun to set, and I'm done. I could sit here for another 30 minutes out of some sense of obligation, but nothing is going to get done. I wrote like 250 words this last hour, and I think that they're like a fine 250 words, but half of them were retyped. We're calling it. It's been a good 12 hours, but it's all I'm doing. I will count it as 10 hours, I think, for the Wrimo website, because there was definitely some time in the live stream when I wasn't going, and I ate and did laundry. The truly astonishing thing is that I did enter a headspace in which doing laundry was a fun break. We'll see how I feel tomorrow, but I don't really feel that much more drained than like if I'd just done random stuff like I would on a Saturday. It might be different if we weren't all under quarantine, but it's not like I can go anywhere anyway or see anyone. I'm gonna go enter my NaNoWriMo hour count, so I'm gonna go tell NaNoWriMo that today I did in fact write 10 words. I just need everyone to see that on average I write 3 words per day and to feel very proud of me. Today is Monday. I did the write-a-thon on Saturday. Time has no meaning. Time really has no meaning anymore. I just wanted to take some time to sort of go over stats and think through what that process was like. I wrote 8,835 words. I haven't been counting words in this revision, so that in and of itself was kind of interesting. I think that I've been right, both not to count and to count for this, so no real thoughts on that besides the fact that it changed. I'd say at least half of that was probably new words. I am revising right now, so some of that was retyped. Definitely at least half, probably closer to 5,000 words were new words, which is quite a lot for me for one day. I also got through 3 chapters. I finished the initial pass on 3 chapters. One of those I was about halfway through, so I really did 2.5 chapters. But overall it was really good. I also tracked my mood, which stayed pretty steady the whole time. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I don't know that I'm great at tracking my mood. I was usually around the 7 to 9, but I don't really know what that means. But overall, really did enjoy it, which, like I said, was not something that I thought would happen. So major takeaways, that was really the first one, was that I actually really appreciated being able to work all day on this one project. It sort of took away some of the pressure, and eventually it became easier to focus than it has when I write for less time, or I have more of a checklist where I'm okay, I need to write for 2 hours, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. One of the things that I've gotten, especially I think from watching Kate Kavanaugh write for many hours at a time, is that she was much less strict with herself. I had to convince myself that it's okay to do things like get water or go pee or whatever when I'm working on my hour. I very much had a tendency to be if anything happens, then I have to stop whatever timer I'm doing or whatever, and then as soon as that finishes I have to start again, and then I also stop writing as soon as the hour ends. This definitely helped me see that having a more fluid sense and more experimentation around what constitutes writing time I think is really important. I thought a lot about, and I think I said as well, Neil Gaiman has his quote where he talks about during writing time you can write or you can do nothing, but you can do nothing but write. And I found that sort of mindset really took some of the pressure off, and basically as long as the only thing I was actively doing was writing, then I was okay. So I was still allowed to take care of any needs that I had, or I even put laundry in. But because it wasn't oh, now I'm gonna go on the internet, or now I'm gonna read, or now I'm gonna do whatever it is I do, it was much easier to keep myself motivated, and I actually enjoyed writing a lot more. There was a point near the end where I did a live stream, and while I really enjoyed it and liked listening to everybody talk, I actually didn't want my writing broken up, which is not a thing that I have really felt before, at least not since I got back into writing. Basically, it's making me appreciate this idea of longer blocks and also schedules. I think that it's going to be worth experimenting and trying to carve out blocks of time when I write, because that made this better, for sure. The other thing that this project did, and it makes me glad that I did it this early on during April and during camp, was that it helped me really reorient the way that I think about how long this revision is. I think that I kind of forgot how long a novel is because I've only written one. So while it was happening, it felt very hard and long, but then as soon as it ended, it was easy to be like, oh, well, that just happened. I mean, basically in this revision, right, I'm having to rewrite a lot. I'm having to add, basically, if I think about my outline, I'm adding like 4 chapters, which is like 10, 12,000, probably more like 16,000 words the way my chapters go. I had not been taking the revision process, I think, as seriously in terms of the commitment it was mentally and time-wise that I needed to be. And so definitely the other thing I feel like I'm taking away from this is that I do need to take this more seriously. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I was super intimidated to write for 12 hours, but I'm so glad that I did. And it was actually just like a really enjoyable day. I was sort of like expecting that I wouldn't want to write. And I kind of did want to write yesterday. I didn't do it, but I thought about it. And then today I started writing again. So there wasn't really sort of the hangover type thing that I thought might happen. Let me know what the longest you've ever written for is. Is this something that you've done? Is this something that you want to do? Would you want to write for longer? I hope April is going okay for everybody and that you're taking care of yourself and each other. Yeah. Bye, loves. There's like this joke saying, I don't know what it is. It's like a road trip thing when you're driving, and it goes, the sun is riz, the sun is set, and here we are in Texas yet. And that is how I feel right now.